Hello, one and all. It's your boy, Alternative Voice again. I just watched a documentary by CNN called America's Longest War. It's about the war in Afghanistan, obviously, and it talks a lot about the failures that occurred in Afghanistan. And this is my first time ever reviewing anything, but it may be a little redundant because it is kind of similar to two videos I've made in the past. I will have a link to America's Longest War and my two previous videos in the description box. Anyhow, I highly suggest you watch America's Longest War because it's very good, and I would like to have to reintegrate my comments on it. The documentary is very well researched, and they got a lot of really good people on there to interview, including Petraeus, McChrystal, as well as soldiers and Marines, airmen, and sailors who served on the ground. And see, what one of the things Stanley McChrystal said was something that really resonated with me. He said that that after 9/11, if he had been George W. Bush, he would have taken a year off to get soldiers trained in language just like Arabic and Pashtun, and taught them the customs and culture of the area. Just kind of a big program sort of thing. And he realized that, America had a bloodlust at the time, and I was there. I was 12 years old, but I remember it very well. But when you get angry, you get stupid. And it's like, the first thing that happened it's like, we should have put more troops on the ground immediately. Like, say, 200,000 or 300,000, or at least 150,000, and told them that their goal was to find Osama bin Laden. And the Northern Alliance proved it could hold its own against the Taliban. So instead of trying to create a new government, I believe we should have just turned it over to the Northern Alliance and let them do what they wanted. Because they were generally a lot more liberal than their Taliban counterparts. They were okay with drinking beer and all that stuff. And what we should have done is we should have not done tours. Like, our soldiers should have just stayed over there until Al-Qaeda was decimated, like it was during the Obama administration. See, it's just, if you ask me, our nation and our military got sidetracked. The whole nation building thing was a total abortion. It was just corrupt as fuck. And you see, there was even a case where, I'm not sure how big this unit was, but this one guy got a contract, this one high-ranking Afghan National Army official got a contract with the Chinese for boots. Unsurprisingly, the boots fell apart almost as soon as they were issued. That's not something that would get my confidence. It's not. And what happened is a lot of Afghanis thought, even though the Taliban were brutal, they still managed to maintain order and clamp down on shit. So they decided, I don't really like the Taliban, but I'll take them over these corrupt motherfuckers. And you see, what I like about that is that, we need to start thinking about our enemies and how they see things. And that's what you do when you plan. You think, what would I do if I were them? And you see, insurgencies are virtually impossible to defeat without launching a very efficient genocide. And, there's so many, since World War II, there have been so many failures against insurgencies. Be it, the French in Algeria, the French in Vietnam, the Americans in Vietnam, the Americans in Afghanistan, the Soviets in Afghanistan and the Russians in the First Chechen War, or the Israelis in South Lebanon. I can only I can count on one hand the number of insurgencies that have been successfully dealt with since World War II. The Malayan Emergency, the Second Chechen War. And I don't know if you could count Iraq in this. I mean, the government held, but it did turn out to be pretty friendly towards Iran. So I guess you could kind of classify that as a Pyrrhic victory, if even that. So I'm going to score it as half a point. I guess you could say the British in Northern Ireland, even though they managed to hold Northern Ireland, the IRA is still active and could resume hostilities at any time. So, and oh yeah, the FARC in Colombia. Now that that's been covered, insurgencies have a tendency to win. Why? Because think about it. A single tomahawk, our military has so much money, but a lot of our stuff is so expensive. It costs about $2 million to have to make a single tomahawk missile. How many suicide bombs? How many car bombs? How many IEDs? How many AKs? And how many RPG-7s and how many Dragunovs could you buy with that? A whole bunch. And it's just simply not, counterinsurgency is just simply not cost effective. I mean, sure they lose more men, but sure the insurgents lose more men, but the professionals lose more money. And it's just not economically sustainable. The key to winning as an insurgent is to keep fighting. That's all you have to do. And in order to win as an insurgent, you have to just not lose. To lose as a professional military, you have to not win. And that's why insurgencies work. Anyhow, it really gave me some new perspective. The documentary gave me some real perspectives, like what the Afghans were thinking. Sadly, they didn't really interview any Afghans except for the first female diplomat. I wish they had interviewed more. But the reality is that what's really crazy is that the Taliban almost took out Dick Cheney. The U.S. and the Taliban said it, and it turned out that the U.S. lied, whereas the Taliban told the truth. And it's like the Taliban are not good people. They never were good people, and they never will be good people. But I began to see things through the perspective of the Afghans. And, as somebody said in the documentary, the Taliban dispersed brutal justice, but they brought justice. Unlike the corrupt Afghan government, which was just... See, the problem with Afghanistan is that it's not really a nation. It's a collection of tribes. And a lot of these tribes won't even talk to each other, let alone die for each other. And the Afghan National Army was multi-ethnic, and a lot of these ethnic groups really fucking hate each other. And you can also... It was just a total clusterfuck. Totally inefficient and a total waste. Now, what I think should have been done is Afghanistan should have been turned over to the Northern Alliance. And whatever they want to do is all right with us. We just provide artillery, airstrikes, and send out a special operations unit occasionally. And we basically the idea is they take the Taliban, America focuses on Al-Qaeda. And once Al-Qaeda was decimated, we withdraw most of our troops and limit ourselves to support operations of the Northern Alliance against the Taliban. That's what I think should have been done. We just utterly failed. And I'm sorry to say, but I admit it, I love America. But when I see people supporting Trump, it really brought me to the understanding that some people really do want to live under authoritarianism, even if they've been living in a democracy their whole lives. And so, if these people have been living under authoritarianism their whole lives, quite naturally, they don't want to change because we are creatures of habit. We are hardwired over the 200,000 years humans have been in existence. We are hardwired to resist change. And that's a fact because we are creatures of habit. See, the U.S. has a problem. Since the end of World War II, and the Marshall Plan, which was a huge success, we have just been trying to recreate that success, and it has failed time and time again. It failed in Vietnam, and it failed in Afghanistan, and, it kind of worked in Iraq, but that was just a what the fuck, I guess you could say that in the end it was a Pyrrhic victory because was it worth it? No. The U.S. should never have gone to Iraq. I wish it hadn't, and it was a totally stupid idea. And as a result, we kind of got sidetracked. I guess the American people collectively have ADHD or ADD or whatever. But I always thought that you should finish one cereal box before you open another one. And that was my belief when the Iraq War first started. But that's neither here nor there. We failed to learn our lessons in Vietnam, and we paid for it in Afghanistan. Should we have gone to Afghanistan? Yes, it was the good war. Absolutely. Should we have stayed there? Hell no. It's just, we need to come to terms with not the fact that not everyone wants what we have. Some people, let's just face it, don't want to be free. Thank you. We dislike living under an authoritarian strongman. And quite frankly, a lot of people in this country seem to want to live under an authoritarian strongman. But, I highly, highly, highly suggest you watch this film, especially if you are in the military or plan to go in. It will teach you a lot. Now, they wouldn't let me in the military because I have high-functioning autism, but I found this documentary to be very rewarding. This is my first review ever in the past. I've been doing at this since I was 28. I'm 34 now, and so that's a total of 6 years. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Be good, y'all.